absolutely chaotic world, how do you believe that a person can say to himself, I am a conscious human being, and within that space of being conscious, I want love, I want wisdom, I want trust. So I can generate a response in society that brings people together, that is also aligned with my purpose of working towards the greater good, and that can encourage me to be responsive to my you that is buried inside me.
I don't know what I was wanting to expect or was expecting to expect. But when I started reading, I just loved it. And I particularly was intrigued by the fact, the way you have even delved into questions of how you can explore possibilities and using mythology to read it. And then there was another piece that you wrote about to integrate symbolism. Now, as a classical dancer, we are just performing on symbolisms. And so I love these two chapters of yours. Of course, when she was talking about rasa, she was talking about, and you was asking whether people are wanting love, do they know? Actually, when I think of it, the moment somewhere or the other, each person, each human being, each being, let me put it, human or otherwise, each being is actually wanting love and is seeking love. And in that pursuit, I mean, of course, there are so many different experiences that comes his way. And where some are good, some are bad, some are indifferent, but whichever way, that also defines his own reaction. You were talking about the body and mind, and for me, as a classical dancer, again, I would say that transcendence in dance, when we are talking about that, the whole thing starts off with the mind. The mind, the body movements, actually it triggers, it's a cyclic, it starts off with the mind, because the mind then controls your thoughts. Those thoughts leads to emotions, whether I'm angry or whether I'm sad or whether I'm violent or whichever way, because those emotions, the bhavas, then lead to the actions, and then these actions finally leads to whichever way, if it is lasting, and that experience leaves behind a lingering taste, which we call rasa, that experience. Now coming to symbolisms. When you have given the you have talked about Narayan, and you have talked about Nara and Ayan, and that's how the two of them becomes the abode, because Ayan means an abode, and then that it becomes the abode. And you have talked about the coiled serpent, and in a way the Kundalini Shakti, and even though he's on the Sheshnag sleeping, you have talked about the Ananta. So they're beautiful, but what are these? These are symbolisms. These are symbolisms which lead to a larger metaphysical reality. Now, and each one of us are living it without realizing it. We are experiencing it without again realizing it. There are few who actually understand it and who are able to transcend it. Brahma, you have discussed in detail about Brahma, the creator, and how the the creativity part of it, which is part of creation, but that part of creation, when I'm looking at the symbolism of the creator, preserver, and the liberator, I'm not potential. Let me quote the first chapter of Natya Shastra, and says, why do you need to have symbolisms? Why do you need to have artists? Why do you need to have reaching out to people, to connect with people? Why? And it says in that chapter that a time had come when everyone had gone astray. You are talking about the Satyug, Dwapar Yuga, and the Treta Yuga. So here it says that everyone had gone astray. And they were so busy, they had forgotten their path, they had the virtues, they were oblivious, as to their own potentials and the virtues. And therefore they go to Brahma and ask Brahma, can you help us? And so Brahma says, okay, what we need is an audio-visual method of telling people. And so in that audio-visual method, he says,
He takes the words from the Rig Veda, from the music from the Sam Veda, and from all the four Vedas, and he creates the Natya Veda so as to be able to tell people to the virtues, but through mythology, through different aspects, because as human beings we are unable to understand the larger picture. You need it to be said to you in simpler terms, in terms that you and I can relate to, and therefore mythologies come behind. And therefore it says, and it says in that there are three ways of telling people. You have the Veda Samhit Updesh, and you have the but in that he says the Kanta Samhit Updesh, which means through the medium of music, dance, performing arts, you are reaching straight into the hearts of the people. The mind is working, but once you're reaching the emotions of the people, those emotions trigger off another cycle. And that becomes more lasting, more potent, and therefore you're able to catch the attention of the people, direct them into how to understand their potential within, how to understand who they are, why they are what they are, and then to be able to, and that would determine the positive action. So when you're talking about Purusha and Prakriti, it is also about the positive actions as well as the negative actions, but both. Now it is also about the two aspects together actually come together to form a whole. Purusha and Prakriti, there cannot be life without it. There cannot be energy without positive action. So when you're talking about Purusha and Prakriti, it is also about the positive actions as well as the negative actions, but both. Now it is also about the two aspects together actually come together to form a whole. Purusha and Prakriti, there cannot be life without it. There cannot be energy without the two forming a whole. And you have so many symbolisms in it. I can keep relating to symbolisms and to mythology, but one of the most famous one is that of the Ardhanarishwar, which again is talking about life and how life cannot be complete without the two principles together. So you do need the two opposing principles together for life, for that energy. Energy creates life and therefore movement, and therefore the thought process, and therefore how to which also determines your own emotions, and that leads to the it's always that Bindu element. And I love this part of yours. It says this state of Ananta denoted mathematically as infinity. It is at this state of consciousness that Vishnu, the second avatar, takes over, encouraging the idea of the play with abundance. Now, talking of infinity, I'll just quote one last two of a verse of Ali Sardar Jafri. And that is infinite. We are talking about that infinity, a never-ending circle of infinity. It says, मैं सोता हूँ और जागता हूँ, मैं सोता हूँ और जागता हूँ, और जाग के फिर सो जाता हूँ, सदियों का पुराना खेल हूँ मैं मर के अमर हो जाता हूँ.